Buddy, I hope you walk into an airplane propeller. Stick tock. 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 And hockey.
Yes, sir.
Welcome back, everyone. This is episode 56 of Stick Talk Hockey. As always, I'm your host, Tico. This is my co-host.
I'm yours truly.
And deadline is 1 week, not even 6 days from today.
It's coming up quick.
Next time we're in here, it'll be over. So it's kind of deadline episode.
Fun.
We love it. It's such a fun time of year.
It's exactly what we look forward to, especially as like a media.
Yeah, of course. I mean, and unlike last year, like there's still some really big names here. Like a lot got done really early last year. And obviously, like Elias Lindholm got moved. We got a couple we're going to talk about today. But, I mean, some of the big dogs, we're still really waiting out here.
Oh, yeah. No, everyone wants what they want for their price, and they're not coming down from it.
It's exciting. I mean, the big news kind of has to do with the deadline that broke this morning, and that's the Elias Pettersson signing.
Thank God that happened before this episode.
I know, yeah. Right before we recorded instead of after.
Like, it always happens. We record the episode, and then some, like, game-breaking news happens.
Just, like, drops, like, as we're editing. Yeah, sick. Or before we even got to editing.
Yep. It's like, oh, boy.
Yeah, so, I mean, that was a crazy story this week. I mean, it started off with just, like, a Friedman kind of bombshell out of nowhere that teams were calling on Pettersson, but that it was, like, more than just kicking tires.
Yeah. I mean, when you have a team that seemed as desperate as the Canucks were, you have to do your job and apply pressure. Right.
And, well, of course, but, like, there's definitely a difference between, like, hey, what's going on with Pettersson? You know? The expiring contract, whatever, and, like, offers on the table. So nobody was really sure what was happening, but then it started coming out pretty quick from, like, a few different media members that clearly the team was kind of leaking out that they weren't thrilled that Pettersson hadn't signed. You know, Sarah Valley said that, and then Rick Dollywall from the Canucks market, he started saying that too. The Canucks were getting a little impatient with what was going on here.
I mean, after watching the Matthew Tkachuk saga, how could you not?
Of course.
I'd be anxious too.
You're kind of, as much as, you know, you're still a long way, and contract negotiations do come down to the wire frequently. I mean, we've seen it with big name players of that caliber. We saw it with both the Sedins. We saw it with Steven Stamkos. He went to Toronto and met with Toronto. That almost happened.
Yep.
But you don't want to get yourself into that situation. And it's very similar, obviously, to the Tkachuk one with 1 year left RFA. Scary stuff. Sarah Valley, you know, he was sounding confused. Like, he was saying, there's something weird going on here, and I can't make sense of what's happening. So it was just really peculiar. And then he finally tweets out that they're back at the table, significant progress done on an 8-year deal. And then we start getting the Friedman bombshell about how Carolina was in and made a significant offer to the Canucks. We don't have details on what that offer was. I mean, Natchez and Kotkaniemi were rumored to be a part of it, but
they would probably have to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you look at what Carolina has to offer while still making a cup run, and it's like, oh,
it's that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it looks like they offered Vancouver that, and it got to a point where reportedly, like, Vancouver and Pettersson had to make some big decisions on where their relationship was going, and the Canucks decided to take another run at getting it done, and they did. This morning it comes out at 8 years, $11.6 million per year.
And good for them, and good for him to get this off the table. Petey gets his money, he gets his term, 8 years at 11.6.
Honestly, okay, now that we've gone through it, I'm going to get a little bit hype here because monumental W for this organization. Absolutely monumental. You look at the 3 centers that have more points than Elias Pettersson right now. McKinnon, Austin Matthews, and Connor McDavid. Ever heard of them?
Yeah, they're up there.
They're okay. Yeah. So you get this guy in at a number that I thought was going to be 12.5. I was perfectly happy paying 12.5, and it's 8 years. I mean, guys of his caliber aren't signing 8 years anymore.
No, I was actually shocked at the term.
It's what a massive win for Alvin Rutherford and this organization as a whole. They succeeded. Like, they sold them.
This contract is going to look great next year.
Yeah.
Like, the cap goes up $3 million as it's reported to. That
Yeah.
looks phenomenal now.
Like, I mean, once McDavid, Matthews, and McKinnon, or once McDavid and Matthews start those new contracts, like, really quickly, I think this Pettersson contract's going to look like one of the best in hockey.
100%. It's giving me Sidney Crosby vibes, like, right out the gate.
Man. And you know what I do find really interesting, though, is that it's totally front-loaded, which you tend to see with older players, front-loaded deals, to make them tradable in the last couple of years.
Yep.
I find it interesting they did that with 25-year-old Elias Pettersson.
You know, maybe he asked for that too, though.
It's very possible.
Because, like, as a player of his stature,
Yeah,
and where the Canucks are at and where they've been, it's clear he's frustrated that they're not winning.
Yeah.
And for the first time ever, they look like they're in a really good spot.
Right.
But they weren't supposed to be in this spot either. It
Sure.
kind of just fell together.
Sure.
So maybe this is like a contingency plan just in case it all falls out.
It's something that he can do to get out as well. Yeah. That makes sense.
And it would be a mutual thing at that point where he's like, look,
Totally.
we tried. There's no cups.
Yeah.
I need a cup. So you move me and get some assets.
Well, and I thought it was really interesting. Like, it really gets manageable. Like, I think it goes down to 3.7 for the last, few years.
That's a really, wow. That's a low app.
After the Quinn Hughes current contract expires.
That could also have a lot to do with it.
Exactly, right?
Re-sign periods.
Well, yeah, I mean, if Hughes either gets a big raise or if Hughes leaves, then that's blow-upable for the Canucks, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, monumental win. Just a monumental win for a team that seemed to be allergic to them for a decade.
Especially like in contract talks, you just seem to constantly take L's in those.
Yes, over and over and over again. Like, there was so much. Does this guy want to be here? Does this guy want to be here? I mean, 8 years, and you could argue it's team friendly.
I would say it's very team friendly. I was expecting 12.5. Like you said, I was expecting max payout. This is what the price is.
I don't want to hear this guy doesn't want to be here again.
Yeah. The media needs to clamp down. He's here for the ride. And if it doesn't work, it's a beautiful contract.
Yeah.
Like, I would be shocked if the contracts that we see coming up after this don't entirely mirror or shadow this.
Yeah. I mean, already, it's only $100K more than Nylander. And we're talking about a center. Well, that's 3 years younger.
Yeah. And I mean, if you have all these young guys, like, take a look at Owen Power.
Yeah.
You sign him to an 8-year deal, but you front load it while he's still in development.
Yep.
Then when you get to the back end and he's actually crushing it, you have the flexibility to make a push.
Yeah.
With that.
Yeah.
With that next level, that next gear that was found.
I mean, that's how the Penguins did it, right? I mean, they won their cups while they won a cup while Crosby was on his first contract, and then he signs the big second one. They kind of, they were always competitive, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't until 2016 when that contract was a steal for Sidney Crosby that, they ended up going back to back and winning 2 more. Also, yeah, the front loaded thing. If I'm a player, I actually kind of like the idea as well. You get more cash up front, right? I mean, it's more years of interest and more things you can invest in early, right?
I was going to say, like, 11 million in 8 years is not going to be worth what 11 million is now either. So,
sure.
You want to get the majority of that out of the way quickly so you can invest into other things like real estate or stocks or retirement
whatever
plans,
it is.
whatever you want. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, man, I'm just so happy about it.
It rules out the risk of getting injured later in your career and leaving a lot of money on the table too, like we've seen.
And I mean, yeah, like, so 8-year deal. Yeah, it's gonna take him to 33 years old. There's only 1 year in there then, right? That 33 age 33 season that like you're a little bit nervous about. But like even then, I mean, the cap hit's gone down to 3.7, and the cap you would assume 8 years from now has gone up significantly. There's nothing not to like here.
And I see in the notes you have it's only $100K more than Nylander makes with the Leafs while being 3 years younger and a center.
Yeah.
Which is just an infinitely more valuable position.
Yeah. It's
just so much harder to find elite centers.
Absolutely. I mean,
wow.
And that's the and that's where I say, you know, that's a team friendly deal right there. That's the difference between nickel and diming, and taking the term, getting it done. You're here for the haul, buddy.
Yep, I like it. I think that this is incredible.
Yeah. I got my PD jersey behind us today. Yeah. I'm excited that I don't have to sell it in 4 months. Anyways.
You know what? Fair. I remember doing a little dance when Jack Hughes signed his contract too. I was happy as hell.
Yeah, of course.
It's like, oh, I can buy a jersey now. Thank God.
Yeah. Let's get into the trade talks.
Yeah, let's do it, man. There was some heaters to start.
Blockbuster out the gate this week. New Jersey Devils acquire Curtis McDermott from Colorado for
Zakhar.
Yeah.
Bardakov.
And a 2024 seventh. You know, just when everyone counted the Devils out.
Here we come, baby.
Banger alert. I'm playing. Actually, that's not the move I really wanted to see them make.
I am so goddamn upset with the Devils front office this week. Do not even get me started. We are 3 points out of not wild card, but out of the third in the Metro.
Yeah.
The Flyers are gonna blow it. They're gonna trade Konechny. They don't have a goalie.
Or any defenseman right now.
Like, we could still do this. The reason the team sucks is because the team's had problems since the beginning of the season, and you haven't fixed any of them for the entirety of the season.
Yeah.
There was obvious holes and gaps to start with, and then there was just more holes and gaps that developed because you had a draft to the London police.
You did, indeed.
I don't know if we're really allowed to talk about that in the media, but we may as well because it's relevant, so whatever.
Of course it's relevant.
I've noticed a lot of like outlets tiptoeing around it, but whatever. Like you lose McLeod, you lose Cal Foote.
Yeah.
You didn't do anything to get a depth piece in return, so of course like your AHL guys are suffering.
Yeah.
They're not ready.
No.
So it looks terrible.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean to fold it up.
I mean there's just been like you have the rumors of a deal that fell through for a goalie. You have a coach that, I mean, the market seems to agree that he should have been gone a little while ago now.
The entire league seems to agree now.
Yeah.
Like it's not just a Devils fans thing where
I mean like the national market, not just the Devils market. Like
everyone I talk to is like, coaching change.
I just don't understand what's happening here. I mean, sure, Curtis McDermott. I mean, that's a guy who could fill that one of those roles that like Michael McLeod leaves.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean that's probably the thinking here at least. I get it.
The Devils are getting banged up a lot, so I get adding like just like a bruiser nobody for the time being. But like, I don't know. It's just like a whatever deal, and like
for a team that's like, you know, that went deep in the playoffs last year, has all this elite talent, and is scrapping and fighting at the door of a playoff spot. You want to see some effort.
Yeah, I would like to see something more from front office than taking on cap, which we'll get to in a second, and trading a seventh and a nobody prospect for a player we're not going to remember in 2 years.
Sure.
Like, I've seen so many of these deals already.
I mean, I don't like. Yeah, you're also not gonna remember either of those pieces you gave back either.
No, but I mean, like, it's just like, why are we wasting our time with this? Like, why?
Yeah. Well, let's get to an actual trade because, like, we don't like. Who cares about any of that? I'm sorry. Not the Devils. I mean, but just
that trade in general. Yeah, it's whatever.
Yeah. Chris Tanev, the actual move from this week. Chris Tanev,
which still made me so goddamn mad.
Goes to the Stars. Calgary gets Artem Grushnikov. I believe that's how you pronounce it. A 2024 second and a 2026 third in the deal. I mean, it's a great deal for Dallas, in my eyes. Calgary was holding out for the first, and I did think they were going to get it. They do get a second and a third. You monetize the asset. I got no problem with it, and Dallas is scaring me.
I like this trade. I like that Dallas went out and got a defenseman.
Yeah.
We talked about this maybe 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
Where
I think last episode we were talking about it.
Yeah, that was the issue that I pointed out with Dallas. It was like, sure, your defense is serviceable, but is it cup winnable? Do they have a pedigree? Is it something you want to hang your hat on? I don't know. You need more depth.
Adding a guy like that as on your right side in Dallas is monumental for them.
And they didn't pay much.
No.
Like a second and a third and a prospect. That's pretty solid. And the Devils, I believe, got a fourth in 26 as well for retaining 50% of the Tanev deal for the remainder of the season, which also just bothered the hell out of me. Because why? I get it. It's a free pick.
Yeah.
It's a free pick.
Yeah.
But it just proves you're not doing anything to fix the problems or make a cup run. Like
right.
when you're
not utilizing your cap for players.
When you swallow someone else's cap.
Yeah.
That's basically indication number one, we're folding it up. And it's a terrible message to send to your players, especially when they have a game that they need to win against the Ducks, and then they go out and put up a stinker the next day.
Do you think the players view it that way?
I think that they desperately need some help. Jack Hughes has been saying for if you read between the lines, like his interviews don't sound great on Devils management.
Well, I mean, maybe if he could sink a penalty shot, then.
I mean, he already had a goal and an assist in the game. What do you want the guy to do? Carry the whole team?
I mean, a penalty shot with 2 seconds left, though. I do want you to score that.
Yeah, me too. That was so disappointing. But we don't have to go there.
No. That's okay.
But like in his interviews when they win, he's like, "Yeah, we got some saves tonight, so that was nice." And it's like,
sounds like the Canucks last year.
That's like not the greatest thing you want to hear from your star center. Is we finally got some saves. It's like, backhanded compliment much.
But even if you did, like, you don't want to hear that because I mean, it could be one that you're like backhanded complimenting your goalie, but it also means that like. If your goalie did play well, you're backhanded complimenting the rest of your team.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's and like, I mean,
he was good back there. None of the rest of y'all were.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's just clear frustrations mounting, and Jack Hughes isn't the only one that's made some comments in the media where you're kind of like,
Have we just siphoned your power? Can only one Hughes team be good at a time?
Maybe. It could be.
Oh, man.
That would be a sick era. I hope not. I hope that you guys didn't Monstars the Hugheses.
I really hope not as well. Because, I mean, seriously, my dream is to see a Vancouver-New Jersey final.
Same. And we got to go to it.
The violence that would happen on this podcast show.
Oh, yeah. War zone.
There would be some wagers that would not be fun to lose.
There would be some tears. Yeah, so like it just frustrates the hell out of me because it's like, why are we swallowing cap when you could easily use that cap to go and get something useful?
I mean, I totally get that, but I always wonder why teams don't do this more. Like, why is every time money moves, why is there not a team with cap space in on that deal acquiring assets for doing nothing? I don't understand why teams don't do it more and don't like prioritize being involved in doing it. So I don't mind it. I mean, like, we're getting away from what matters here, which is actually Chris Tanev in Dallas. But yeah, I don't. I see what you're saying with like the message to the players, and they need to be doing more. But I don't know. I have no problem with monetizing cap space ever. I think it's always a good idea.
Yeah, fair enough. Like I like the free pick. It's an asset.
Yeah.
But I mean, Tanev to Dallas is super exciting. They were already on my radar, and now that they have Tanev there, oof.
One more trade though from this week. Toronto acquires Ilya Lyubushkin, Jay Fresh's patented 1% WAR player.
Oh boy. Boomer.
Which is really an ouchie. Anaheim gets a 2025 third. Carolina gets in with a 2024 sixth for retaining a little bit of that cheddar. And I mean, hey, there's a perfect example. Carolina did it too.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is just kind of dumb. I'm sorry, but like Lyubushkin, like is really really tough. Both in his analytics and like just like from the eye test, like it's hard to watch that guy play. Like I'm sorry, but like it just kind of is. And you could have used that third that you're sending out. Like Toronto doesn't have a lot of picks left.
No.
And like you shouldn't. Don't get me wrong. You should be going all in. But like if you don't have a ton of assets left to monetize and you still need to make big moves, like make the bigger move.
Yeah, don't waste. Like a third is still a big pick.
It's still a fairly significant asset. Yeah, to send out for
a fleece.
Yeah, like man. Toronto, I'm not going to lie to you. The moves since Dubas left have gone pretty much how I thought they would go under the helm of what's his name? Yeah, Tree Living. Yeah, they're very Tree Living ass moves, and that's horrifying. It's
He didn't learn anything.
I'm not happy about it. Like, I really want to see Toronto make a run here. I think Matthews is so sick. I'm a big Marner guy. I really would love to see it as much as like, you know, it is the Leafs, but I really don't like anything they've done.
I don't either. Like we've already bagged on Ryan Reeves. We talked about not re-signing Noel Acciari. We've talked about this.
Sam giving away Sam Lafferty.
Yeah, like we could keep going. Like it's actually insane the amount of
the lack of aggression on getting a goaltender. I mean,
it's poor asset management too, and that's something I never thought I'd say. Well, I did when Brad Treliving took the job.
Exactly.
We did call this, but
it wasn't something that happened under Dubas is the reason, right?
And I thought that we were just done with bad asset management from the Leafs, and I thought they were just gonna re-sign Dubas. I can't believe they didn't. Like that's still insane to me.
Yeah.
And yeah, Lyubushkin, sending out a third for Lyubushkin is just tough. Like, wow. I don't have anything else to add to that other than wow. Like I don't want to bash on Lyubushkin, but
no.
But like what
Lyubushkin,
you could have done something more with this third. Like there's so many teams with like a third string goalie that's better than any goalie you have right now that you could have acquired for a third.
Yeah, I mean goalie like market prices are, I mean they're higher right now, but they're always lower than anything else, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, like, if you're not going for the ticket goalie, but you're going for a goalie you've just scouted really well.
Yeah.
Like, look at what Vegas has done. Vegas has probably the best internal scouting in the league.
Sure.
They make trades and waiver wire pickups that make us squint and rub our eyes and go, what are you looking at? What do you see here?
And then they work.
And then in 2 years, these guys are absolute studs. They're like the William Karlssons of current, you know? Like
Vegas, their pro scouting is just top tier. It really is.
Like they just find what they like and they're like, we can fix that.
Yeah.
And they do.
Yeah. Well, and I think that they focus on the fit. You know, you see so many teams that focus on like the skill set or arbitrary things like points, size, you know, like, he's a big, tough guy, blah, 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 things like that, without, like, really paying attention to how they fit into the puzzle of a team. And I think the perfect example of that, you can look at this year. I mean, Riley Smith. Riley Smith is a perfect example, dude. That guy fits so well in Vegas.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he was a
monster.
Yeah.
Because he fit. You send the guy to Pittsburgh, he falls off a cliff immediately.
Not the team. Not the fit. It's not
the team. And I think like you can draw a direct line to this being, you know, Kyle Dubas's first like couple months as their GM, a guy who doesn't know exactly what that team chemistry like and what the fit is like, all of those things, right? He'd only been there. He hadn't seen the team play really.
It's true. He just knows what he likes.
So then you bring the guy in. Well, it's not the right fit. I mean, Vegas, they're just monsters at that. They really are.
Yeah, and I mean that's what Toronto needs to be doing is they need to be finding that guy where it's like, yeah, he's kind of a bum now, but like, is he what we need? Could he fit the system?
Yeah.
Do you know who they need that they could have gone for dirt cheap? And I think he's an absolute wash of a player, but like could reasonably fit their system.
Who?
Brendan Smith.
Ah, the boy.
Absolute train wreck of a player, but he fits everything they need.
It's actually pretty fair. Yeah. Yeah, I don't hate that at all.
And he's probably got a better WAR than Ilya Lyubushkin too.
Probably. I also think like a 2025 third, as much as, it's not that significant. Like that could be a pretty big piece in a Kakkonen trade.
That too.
You know?
It could be something that really sweetens the deal on something. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's pretty bad.
Toronto, like, I'm not trying to like rip on you because, like I said, I really want to see you succeed, even though I don't want to see Ben LeBar happy.
I don't want to see any Leafs fans happy, honestly. Stay sad.
I do want to see them succeed, and just watching like move after move, that just makes me go like, I don't know. Yeah. Can we do some mock trades? I'm sad about this.
Yeah, I really loved the Leafs last year. Like I feel like I had nothing but praise to sing at the deadline. I was like, this team's so good. I want them to win. It's so freaking awesome. And I look at this team now and I'm like, I hate everything. Like I would blow this up if I was in like GM mode.
Yeah. Too many big contracts, no depth, no goalie.
And the depth pieces you've signed are on massive contracts for depth pieces. It's like, why?
I don't know.
Yeah. Like Ryan Reeves should be paying you to play on this team.
He should be.
He should be paying you a drop-in salary just to like have ice time.
He should be paying whatever resale ticket prices are.
Yeah, exactly. Like you should be paying front row ticket seats.
It's unbelievable. And then I love that like we ran the clip, you know, the Grieg, the slap shot into the empty net.
Yeah.
But then I love that it's just like flashes to him, and it's just like the perfect encapsulation of like what the career has been in Toronto so far, where it's like, oh, Ryan Reeves on the bench, so he can't do anything.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you gonna do? Nothing.
Okay. Let's do some mock trades here. I'm going to start. This was my second one, but I'm going to start with Toronto because we're talking about them. Right?
Okay.
They do still have their 2024 first. Get it out of here. Bye-bye. Fraser Minton, prospect. Pretty solid prospect, actually. Bye-bye. TJ Brody, mostly just for the cap. Bye-bye for Jacob Markstrom.
Yeah.
How you feel about that? I mean, I think that TJ Brody makes $1 million less than Markstrom, so if you want, throw in an arbitrary third team in to take on some salary and get a late pick, whatever.
I think you would have to with Toronto's salary issues right now.
Yeah, probably.
And with Calgary's salary issues, because I remember that they had an issue with retention with the Devils on Markstrom.
Yeah, I don't think they would retain, which is why I think you'd have to put a third team in to get some retention. But it wouldn't have to be a lot. Like it would have to be, 20% or something like that, 25%.
Yeah. I like it. I think that they need a goalie. They desperately need a goalie if they want to push, and they need a goalie they can trust.
And I think a lot of teams will be afraid of term when it comes to goaltenders. And I mean, not to say that Toronto won't be as much, but also like Toronto's window is clearly still a couple years, right, where they still have, this Matthews contract and Marner and Tavares coming off the books, whatever. So I think that a little bit of cost certainty might be good for them in a goalie.
I would agree. And like, I don't fear term if the term lines up with your window. If you can afford it and it lines up, then why not?
Why not?
If it was an 8-year deal still, then yeah, I'd probably have an issue with this. But
sure.
It's 3 years left, yeah?
I think it's 2 after this season.
Okay, so 3 now, but okay, yeah, carries over.
Yeah.
Which is like just what they need. That's perfect.
Yeah, the only scary thing is like he's already 34. So I think that goes till he's 36. That's tough, but goalies can also usually, well, not always, but like they can go longer here and there.
Well, I mean, especially when we aren't going with like a goalie plays 60 games anymore system.
Yeah. Toronto might if they had Jacob Markstrom.
Yeah, I mean, but they have like 2 other bum cheek goalies. They've proven they can ride and actually make a playoff appearance. So
Right.
like they could give him the breaks. And we've seen what goalies do when they do get the breaks. Look at Bobrovsky last year.
Yeah.
Like they
Look
rode
at Aiden Hill last year.
They rode Alex Lyon into the playoffs
There's
like a
there's
dead horse.
honestly nothing I believe in more than like the team with the rested goalie becomes the elite goalie. Like I don't know. And also I was literally just talking about this before the show with Jonesy, how like people like say that Ottinger's a bum. And I'm so convinced that the only people that believe that are people that have only really sat down and watched Jake Ottinger when it's a playoff series and he's already been ridden for 60 games.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just beat by then.
Ottinger plays great.
He's fantastic.
He's just tired as hell, and you need a second goalie there.
It's what terrifies me about the Canucks. There's only 2 goalies that have played more than Thatcher Demko this year. Georgiev and was it Saros, Jonesy? Terrifying. Don't like that.
Yeah, that's...
Also concerns me about Colorado. Georgiev's played more games than any other goalie.
Yeah, that's tough.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like you really have someone that you can, like, lean on either.
Well, the one thing I will say is like Casey DeSmith's been a good backup for Vancouver.
I was gonna say, but if it comes to like you want to give Demko 10 games off before the playoffs and you're still in a like
They won't. Yeah.
And you need a position.
The other thing though is that Vancouver has played more games than any other team. So like that also kind of does play into it. I don't think he'll finish as a top 3 games played goalie, but he'll still definitely be top 10. Concerning.
Especially with the injury issues he's had.
Yeah.
That's a little bit even more concerning, that wear and tear.
100%. So yeah, that's my first trade there. Marked him to Toronto for the 2024 first, Fraser Minton and TJ Brody. What you got up first?
I'll start down in Philly because y'all gotta think that we are goddamn stupid. Travis Konechny allegedly gets hurt in practice 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Well, going on 2 weeks ago now.
Yeah.
Gets hit with a puck.
He does.
And he misses some time.
Mm-hmm.
Then Tortorella gets asked about it later.
Indeed.
And he says, I don't know if we'll actually see him back.
Right.
Doesn't say this season. Just says, I don't know if we'll see him back. Now, if you know Tortorella, you know that he's an honest guy.
He is an honest guy.
And a little bit too honest.
Sometimes.
And he's also very blunt.
Yes.
And what he says and doesn't say is very important.
Pay attention to it, yeah.
I don't think we'll see him back.
It's
really now. This makes sense considering Philly was going through a rebuild and should still be going through a rebuild.
Yeah.
They're kind of clinging to the 3rd spot in the Metro by the grace of God right now, but they, like we said earlier, don't have a goalie.
Yeah.
And they don't have depth. And from what we've seen, they're also not really married to their core.
No.
Konechny's getting a little bit older. They're not sure if their window's going to be when he's still in his prime.
Yep.
Do they monetize him? Do they get some huge picks now? This draft year looks really good. Next year's looks really good.
Yes.
Like, it's still not like a bad draft class by any means. So I'm going that they're burying Konechny with a faux injury in the press box so that they can move him for max value at the deadline. And I'm predicting Konechny to the Golden Knights for Logan Thompson and a first and a prospect.
I like it. Vegas, I mean, how do they make the cap work? It's Vegas. They will.
Mark Stone's out.
Yeah, that's kind of that. I have a Vegas trade in here too, and that's kind of my reasoning as well. It's just
they have the cap and they're aggressive and they're gonna do it.
Yeah,
they want their cup and they're in win now mode.
I mean, I like the deal for Philly. I mean, it gives them a goalie,
which they need.
They are now missing for some reason.
We talked about that as well.
They also have a player that went to the London Police draft. They get a first round pick out of it, which I do still think Philly, as much as they're playing well, I do think they're still thinking long term about this team. And at least they should be, but I think they are. So, I mean, getting a first and a prospect will be important for them. I think in my mock trade, I have Matthew Cataford as my prospect going the other way. I actually don't know anything about the guy, but it's a name.
It's a name. It works.
He was their third ranked prospect. I figured that was pretty fair.
Yeah, or like maybe Gustafsson. I'm pretty sure he's a center over there. He's
Sure.
doing pretty good in the dub right now. I think he plays
Yeah.
for the Thunderbirds, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. I have him on my fan tracks.
Yeah, I like it. I like the move. I think it makes a lot of sense for both teams. You might need a little bit more on Philly's end. I mean, Konechny's a really good piece, man. But I don't know. I like it.
I think the catch here is that like Konechny also has like a re-sign available after
Sure.
the season.
Sure.
So the value there is that like they could just sign him. And he also doesn't like he's not going to fetch 12 mil like Pettersson is. He's going to be a more affordable guy that you could bump someone out for.
I'm also just a big fan of he's signed up, like, when's his contract expire? This off season or next off season?
I'm pretty sure it's this off season.
Next off season.
Okay, next off season.
But I'm a big fan of acquiring contracts with 1 year left after. It gives you the ability to take a look, see how it feels, see how it plays, and then move them if it doesn't work exactly the way you want it to. Like, remonetize that asset,
Yeah, and you're not sweating your balls off trying to make something work and doing cap gymnastics the next year because it's tiring to do, and it also makes your team on edge.
Yeah.
You want the team to feel secure. You want everyone to be able to gel together.
100%.
And like I said, Konechny's only making 5.5, and I doubt that he's going to have the type of year coming forward where he's demanding 10 or 11.
Yeah.
He's probably going to fall more in the 8 to 9 mil range, which is really affordable for what he provides, and he fits a Vegas build
There you go.
just so well.
Yeah.
Like he's everything that team is.
Yeah. No, I like it. I'm going to stick with Vegas on mine.
Okay.
Like I said, Matthew Cataford. That's a big piece of this trade for me. 2025 third and their 2024 first. Going out to a team that I feel like hasn't been talked about, for a player that also hasn't really been talked about, in the fact that he's expiring, he's elite, and we don't know what this team's really doing. I'm talking about Steven Stamkos.
That's an interesting name.
I mean, look, Tampa, there's some reasons this could not happen. Tampa, obviously, it's their long-term captain, probably the greatest player in franchise history. But, I mean, contract negotiations got dicey last time with him, and they've already been dicey this time.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it really falls down to, like, you kind of owe him money and you owe keeping him around.
Yeah.
But also it's a business and you kind of don't.
Yeah, but I also think, though, like, if you go to the table and you say, Stammer, we're thinking about moving you, where do you want to go? Do you not think the first place he's going to say is Vegas? Or at least, like, in his top 5 teams he'd waive a no-trade clause for?
100%.
You know what I mean?
You could tell me I'm going to Vegas. Yeah.
The players love being in Vegas. I mean, like, it's warm. They're not, like, they don't live on the strip. Like, it's actually fairly nice outside of, like, the Vegas you think of when you go to Vegas.
Yeah.
And the team's fantastic. I mean, yeah. And Vegas loves to, like we said, acquire big names, go after it. I don't know, dude. I think that could be so interesting. And could you imagine this Vegas team with Eichel and Stamkos playing side by side?
No.
It'd be disgusting.
I don't want to think about it.
Disgusting.
Unbeatable.
I mean, this would be assuming that Tampa sees the writing on the wall and decides to kind of kickstart the rebuild a little bit. Who knows if they will. I don't really think that they will, but I think it's an interesting kind of thought to go through.
Yeah, I don't think they will either. I think they're too stubborn. I think that they're still in that we have to do it. And all the players are like that too. Like,
well, exactly.
You
I
have
think
Vasilevsky and
they feel like
Kucherov
they
there,
owe it
like,
to those players.
Yeah, and those players feel like they're owed too. So if you trade away the captain and, a 40 goal scorer.
Well, I mean, yeah.
What kind of reaction are you going to get from Kucherov, who has known attitude issues?
Yeah.
Like, is he just going to play the rest of the season like the All-Star game? Because that's concerning.
Yeah, it is. He is expiring, though, right? Like, it's a little bit different than, like, trading a guy halfway, than trading Kucherov,
Second up, I'm trying not to talk about the Devils too much.
Are you?
We just keep doing dumb
Are you,
shit.
though, Trill?
I really do try to. I'm
So,
sorry.
What do we got here? Is it
But
gonna
it's
be
like
Devils?
it's so obvious that it probably will happen.
Mm.
Tyler Toffoli, it's not working out. Devils
Yeah.
are folding up the season. They're gonna let's say they retain 25% and they
Okay.
send him back to a well-known home in LA,
Sure.
and they get a defenseman back that they desperately need in Matt Roy.
Interesting. I think that, like, I'm not sure that Tyler Toffoli is a guy that the Kings need. Like, they have a lot of wingers. But, I mean, they did lose 2 this offseason in Viardi and who's the other one?
Iafallo.
Yeah. So, and, I mean, you get the guy back
And
that you won a cup with.
I was going to say, cup pedigree, been there before.
With you.
He'll immediately be comfortable.
Yeah.
It's like coming back home.
Yeah,
Like,
100%.
That's kind of what you want, especially if you're gelling in the right way.
What you got?
Who?
Kempe just got
Kempe
hurt?
just got hurt?
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. I feel like you might have to tack something for the retention.
Maybe, but
Maybe.
also
I don't know.
Matt-
I like it.
Matt Roy's like arguably their second best defenseman behind Drew Doughty, so
Yeah, it's a lot.
it is a lot. They might even end up with like a lesser guy and a third, but
I mean, yeah.
I would see the Devils shopping a defenseman out of LA.
Right. If
And
those are like the
getting
2
a
main
pick.
pieces, maybe a couple other peripherals like here and there, I really like that. My last one here, this one might be more of an off-season move because it's definitely one with long-term in mind. But going off the wall here for my last one, I'm taking Zegras to Chicago.
Weird.
Yeah. I mean, Chicago, I have them sending back Toronto's first, not their own. Couple prospects in Colton Dock and Gavin Hayes, and a 4th. Anaheim gets a couple prospects that are like closer to NHL ready that can kind of fit their lineup pretty soon, you'd hope. They get another first-round pick, which, I mean, they still love to stack those up, it seems like. And, peripheral pick for a guy who we've seen there's been some animosity around. He's only 22 years old. I think people have kind of already made what they think Zegras is in their head.
Yeah.
Like, I think a lot of people have decided how they feel on Trevor Zegras, and it's like there's so many players in this league that aren't playing at his age yet.
Yeah, and I think that unfortunately, like, he's also done that for himself.
Yeah. Because he came in so hot, so young.
Well, and he just has a reputation. Like, you've seen the way he kind of carries himself and the way he plays when he's having a bad game versus someone else who's a leader.
Yeah.
Who's pushing through it,
Yeah. But I mean, like, I don't know, dude. Like, JT Miller didn't figure it out till he turned 30.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that there's like dead value in Zegras or he's a total bust. Like, I'm
No.
not saying he's capo caco by any means.
No. Come on, no.
But or Puljujarvi by any means,
Yeah.
but like I just yeah.
I think it's an opportunity.
I think he does need a new place. Is the big
Potentially.
thing. Like, I think the whole relationship's just gotten too sour too quick, and he feels like he's on the outs. And when you feel like you're on the outs and you're being pushed out, and you're not really receiving like positive support at a young age.
Then you'll play like you are.
Yeah, like I don't know. I was a pissy 22-year-old too. I get it. Like, I was fiery as all hell.
Yeah.
Like,
I feel like Chicago has still an excess of assets in like their picks and stuff, and it's rare that you get the opportunity to acquire young elite talent like that. Because like, regardless of how you feel about like Trevor Zegras's
track record,
mentality or his like attitude, like his skill set is elite.
yes,
There's just no denying it. So I mean, when you have the chance to acquire a guy like that, and you're also like a part of a team that has the time to wait for it, I don't know. There's something there.
Yeah, and when you move to a new team, you have a chance to actually fix it because you're starting from scratch, which is really ideal, especially because he's hurt right now too. So like he's not even playing. He's not even going to bring those bad habits into your roster right away.
Sure.
Like he's going to be sitting in the press box watching how you play for the first 20 games.
Right.
It's probably for the best.
And I feel like he could probably learn how to be a professional a little bit from Taylor Hall. Same as Bedard.
Yep. Yeah. And I think that even from Bedard, he might have something to learn. Like it kind of like opens your eyes when like a kid that's 3 years younger than you is acting like a whole ass adult.
Sure.
And being treated like a whole ass adult while you're still being treated like a kid.
Yeah.
Like that kind of, provokes a little bit of like, oh, I got to grow up a little bit here. Like,
and selfishly, could you imagine the highlight reels? Zegras to Bedard? I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean, you could flex him to the wing or you could not have to rely on Jason Dickinson as a second C anymore and shove him down to the third C where he truly belongs.
Yeah, and then you'd have that at 5-on-5, and then you could pair them up on the power play.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I'd love to see it. I really would love to see it.
Yeah, 100%.
Last one for you?
Yeah. This is my hot take. I thought, we'd do two kind of more serious ones and then, one really wild one.
Sure.
This one also kind of comes off of like some injury stuff where you're kind of like, seems kind of perfect given the timeline of the week. Nikolai Ehlers is out. And he's week to week.
Mm-hmm.
And he hasn't been getting ice time that he deserves.
Winnipeg does not value him.
And this guy's a star. Like, he is a stud.
Yes.
He should be getting 20 minutes a night. He should.
Absolutely.
The fact that he's getting 12 minutes a night sometimes is insane.
Absolutely.
And insulting.
I completely agree.
And something's wrong. Like, he and the coach are clearly not getting along. He's in the doghouse far too often, and his points don't even reflect that, which is also insane. When
it's actually like genuinely just baffling.
Like, he's making the most of every opportunity and not getting more, and that is just backwards. It's backwards.
Jonesy, how old is Ehlers?
I think he's 28.
Yeah, he's 28.
Look at me go. Yeah, so I'm thinking Carolina really, really needs something.
Yeah.
We've talked about it year after year after year. They're good. They're really good.
Yep.
They have probably top 3 defense in the league.
Yes.
Paralleled to Vegas.
Sure.
They need more oomph. They need another weapon. They need something that is going to bring it home because you can't rely on Martinook to score 8 goals in the playoffs. It just is not a thing.
Yeah.
You got so lucky with that. Yeah. So Nikolai Ehlers going to Carolina for Kotkaniemi and a first.
That's very interesting. I don't think Winnipeg does it. I don't know that there's enough value there for them. But I love it for Carolina.
And it might be different assets. It might be different pieces, but like I couldn't really think of anything that Carolina is willing to give up that Winnipeg also desperately needs right now.
Yeah.
Like it could be a defenseman, but Winnipeg's defense has been great.
Yeah,
Pionk, DeMello,
yep.
Morrissey, I'm forgetting another one here, but like the fact that 4 of them are actually notable out of the 6 is pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I feel like Ehlers is underappreciated, undervalued, and Carolina could get a absolute score on it.
Yeah, that's just it. Like Winnipeg, you're kind of just like wasting the asset and not in the sense of like you're killing its value, but just in the sense of like why have this guy if you're going to put him there when you could just have a guy that belongs there.
Exactly. Like, why have a first-line guy playing second or third-line minutes when you could just get a second or third-line guy and maximize your assets?
Yeah, and then get, like, a first with it or something like that. But I'm not sure that Kotkaniemi's that piece.
No, but I was looking
But it's interesting.
I was looking at all the other pieces, and I was like, like what, Stahl, Martinook,
Also, I mean, it's tough to, trade a guy like Ehlers when you're
pushing
in
for the playoff.
Midst of being one of the best teams in hockey. It's also just interesting because like right now Winnipeg and Carolina is tied 3-3 in the third. We're watching that.
Yeah. I mean, my other take was Natchez.
Yeah.
For Ehlers 1-1.
But then why does Carolina do that?
Because Natchez is struggling. He's never taken that next step. Like, he's just kind of stuck at that, like, 20, 30 goal mark. And he should, in theory, be a 40-goal scorer. And we talked about it earlier. Anywhere else, he probably is.
Yeah, but that's a Carolina thing. Like, that's just because of, like, the system they run. Like, Ehlers is going to do the same. He's not going to score 40 goals in Carolina. But that's just because no one's going to.
I think he would, honestly, because I think that he fits their system a lot better. I think that the gaps that they create actually lend itself to his shooting range and his speed, more so than it does for Natchez, who actually kind of needs to be teed up a little bit.
I feel like we don't really see like hockey trades like that anymore, like
No.
1-for-1 same position trades. I don't hate it, but I just don't see that going.
Anyways, that's my hot take, kind of goofy one, where it's like, this guy's hurt, quotations.
How do you feel about Ehlers to the Ducks?
No,
No.
I don't see that at all. It would have to be a contender. I could see Ehlers to Nashville as well.
Yep.
That's a team that's been on the cusp. Yeah. They're very much in the culture of you punish the players when they screw up. You reward them when they do well. They've been absolutely fighting through this.
They have been.
And they've been doing great. This might be one of those things they want to reward them with.
I think that's interesting. Yeah.
And I
divisional rival makes that price go up, but it'd be fun.
It would be fun, and I mean there is pieces there that they could use. I don't know.
Yeah.
And Ehlers has like term. He still has term left.
100%.
So like let's put that in perspective as well.
All right, let's get to some clips here. What are we at? Cousins just like miraculously healing because the scrum starts. Look at him.
Nick Cousins
laying on the ice and just hey.
Nick Cousins eating snacks behind a car.
Dude, I
GTA
love this
Online
clip.
style.
Like, he's dead, and then just boing.
Boop, 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 boop.
Honestly, like, I mean, the league should be looking at that. No, like, is there more like clear embellishment?
He
ever?
found an extra life.
Oh, I thought that was just awesome. That's one of my favorite clips of this week. Shout out to Cousins.
When your controller disconnects.
Okay, wait. Before you click that, Jay, go back. This clip, I want to play the third one first. This guy just posts random highlights on TikTok, and it's my favorite thing I've seen all week. Like, when I say random highlights, I mean watch this. November 1st. So this clip, November 1st, 2010, New Jersey Devils versus Canucks. Canucks get the early clear on the penalty.
Canucks with an early clear as Andy Green couldn't hold the line.
That's the whole clip.
I've seen this on my Instagram. It's like meaningless hockey plays or something.
I love it, dude.
Forgettable hockey plays.
Canucks get the early clear.
Beautiful.
Heater clip.
I've seen one where it's like so-and-so gets a drink of water to close the first.
Love
it. Like the horn sounds, the goalie turns around, takes a drink of water, puts it back on his own. It's like, he'll take a sip of water before he goes to the locker room.
Good to see. You got to remember those moments, you know? Beautiful
moments. Truly.
All right, and last up here. Oh, God. Fanatics. It actually, I was a couple days behind on this. I wanted to do this last week, but we weren't doing the video, so I couldn't show the clips or the photos with it. We're a little bit behind on this, but man, the MLB has swapped over to Fanatics now, right?
Yeah.
So this is a bit of a preview of what's to come for us NHL fans. And the results are just absolutely horrendous. Can you start at the top there, Jay?
Oh, this is just a nightmare.
I mean, yeah, the numbers on the back have gone from
gorgeous
looking to this cheap, tiny yowza.
They're not centered. Like, the numbers and the name aren't centered. That number's too far to the right. The name's too far to the left.
That next one there, I mean, that one hurts. Like, look at how beautiful that jersey looked before.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
And then it, for real, looks like that actually looks like a T-ball team jersey.
Yep. This looks like Little League.
Like, I mean, no disrespect to my local businesses, but like I feel like I could get that printed.
The numbers are too close together.
And small. The letters are too small. That Verlander, I mean, that looks ridiculous.
So bad.
That looks just ridiculous, dude. And then, I mean, there's the pants thing. I mean, in that picture, you can start to see the pockets on the pants. We'll get a couple more of those. I mean, the embroidery on the patch there, I mean, it's gone from this beautiful embroidery to like a heat press. Of course, the price hasn't changed, whatever. I mean, that Dodgers one, the Showtime one.
You can see his boxers.
You
and
can
his jersey
see
tuck.
his jersey through his pants, dude. Like, how did this happen? We know how it happened. Fanatics.
Awful. Late stage capitalism at its finest.
Oh, did they deleted the? Did you see the one of the guy's nuts?
No. What?
Okay, I can't even show that one on YouTube. We'll get demonetized for that. I'm pretty sure. But like, you can literally see the guy's entire sack, dude.
That's amazing. That is just wow.
Yeah, and then of course,
how did this fly? How did this pass so many levels?
The CEO came out and was trying to defend himself, saying like, "Oh, we're getting ripped on so bad for this, and Nike's the one that designed it." And it's like, buddy, I hope you walk into an airplane propeller. That's tough. I'm gonna have to cut that out. I'm sorry.
The audacity to A, blame your designers, and then B, like the audacity to undercut Nike and Adidas and every other uniform manufacturer to make it unprofitable, and then hire them, outsource them for probably dirt cheap, to then make the jerseys that you stole from them. I would give you the worst designer on my team. I would give you the intern that gets coffee. They wouldn't even, like, I would give you my 10-year-old son's MLB, like, team designs.
Yeah. I was gifted a Fanatics toque a few weeks ago.
How was it?
It's whatever. It's fine. But I cut the Fanatics logo off of it. I literally cut it out of the toque. I was like, no.
Incredible.
It's horrendous.
Yeah,
I don't want anyone to think that I spent any money on this.
That's just sickening. Like, I hate Fanatics. I hate where we're at, and I hate the audacity to go. It's scary. Be like, hey, Nike, make this for me.
It's scary, and well, I mean, the thing is, like, he's going off the they're using the same factories that Nike used, right? And it's the same thing they're talking about with us, with hockey, right?
Adidas,
they're talking about, it's going to be the same factories Adidas was using. Didn't do much help for the MLB.
Yeah, and I mean, like, sure, it's the same factories, but did you hire the same people, or did you undercut all of the staff, and did you fire the quality control team, and do you actually do second or third revisions on designs, or do you just, like, get one and go, yeah, that's good enough, slap it on something, those dumbasses will buy it? Yeah, because that's what you're doing.
It genuinely just infuriates me that the quality has taken, like, I mean, look, not to get all this way about it, but like, in a capitalist society, that's what's gonna happen. You're gonna get worse quality over time. But to see such a like immediate steep decline, like over the course of like a month in quality of everything, and the prices be the same, is just like, that's too far. Like, I don't think Fanatics realizes that that's too far. Like, and that, like, when you do it to that point where like fans immediately notice, there's so many just like fair weather buyers that are just, they'll buy something when they're in lids or when they're at a game or something like that, right? The community behind like jersey collectors is massive.
Oh yeah.
And they care greatly.
Yep.
And they cared like about things like Reebok to Adidas, where it's like they just changed. Like, the quality didn't get, like, way worse.
No.
It was just different, right? But, like, you do something like that so quick, so steep, people take notice. And, like, yeah, they're getting flamed everywhere. They're getting flamed all over Twitter. They're getting flamed all over Instagram, TikTok, everything. You deserve it.
Rightfully so.
You deserve it. And I'm thankful people have, like, noticed it.
Yeah, and I'm thankful that it finally hit you somewhere in your billionaire cave and you feel at least somewhat bad enough that you have to put out a reply, because unacceptable.
Unacceptable.
Like, I think they think that they can just take advantage of the blind, like, passion that
Yeah.
sports fans have for their team.
Oh, that's absolutely what they think. Yeah.
And it's just not true.
Oh.
Like sports fans are probably some of the most fickle people. As
Yeah,
much as they're diehard, they will vote with their wallet. We've seen it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we're watching it in Winnipeg right now.
Yeah, and I mean, I've heard some things. Tuning into the Merrick show, they had I forget who it was, but they were saying that's more an issue of they weren't treating their season ticket holders right.
Exactly.
And they were just going, oh, well, like, you got to buy in for 4 years, so I don't want season tickets for 4 years. Okay, well then, shoo. There's someone else that will. You can't do that when you live in Winnipeg.
Yeah.
And there's, like, the line's shrinking and shrinking and shrinking, and before you know it, you've told 80% of your fan base to go pound sand.
Exactly.
They will.
Yeah, not ideal. All right.
Whew.
Well, I think that's about it. Couple things to watch over the week here. Obviously, the trade deadline. Obviously.
Exciting.
Matt Rempe.
I wanted to talk about this last week, but I
Yeah.
also didn't want to sound like the old man yelling at clouds.
Sure.
But then he got his ass whooped
Yeah.
the next night. And then every podcast this week was like, should we be protecting this kid a little more? Should they be telling him to fight every game? Like, I don't know about this. Have you seen this guy's face?
His face looks like mashed potatoes, dude.
It doesn't look good.
Yeah.
I was mad about this, like, in the second fight. I was like, he shouldn't be fighting this much. He does not know how to fight properly. He's just big. Like, because you're big doesn't mean that you know how to go against the veteran fighters who have been chucking bombs for 10 years straight.
Maybe. I mean, he's held his own, and that's a Laurier fight. He looked like he knew what he was doing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I'm definitely saying he knows, like, he can fight.
Yeah.
But should he be fighting every night against, like, some of the biggest heavyweights
Probably
in the
not.
NHL?
He's got Reeves tonight.
Better not.
Probably will.
Probably will, but better not.
I mean, CT is real.
Yeah, and I mean, like,
and he's 21. His brain is not developed yet. That's tough to see. But I mean, also, like, I would be, like, shocked. I think the chances are, like, genuinely 1% that the Rangers coaching staff is telling him to do that.
No, I'm just more saying that they need to tell him not to do that.
Right.
Like, for their sake and his, because he seems to be a worthy prospect and something they might have a future in.
Yeah.
You don't want this guy getting his, like, brains knocked around every second game.
Yeah.
And, like, take a look at who am I thinking? Furland.
Yeah, Michael Furland, yeah.
He was out
100%.
early, you know?
Yeah, his career was cut way short.
And because of crap like this.
Yep, that's very true.
So, yeah, you got Trouba hanging around.
Yeah.
Tell them to go and shoo from practice for a little bit. They don't need to do the passing drills. They don't need to do that today. Go teach this kid to protect himself.
Yeah.
He's made himself a big thing.
Yeah.
He's on the map for every heavyweight. He's going to be challenged. If you don't want him to back down, then you have to teach him to fight more and better with someone who does it.
Tonight it's going to be a spectacle. Prime time in Toronto. Ryan Reeves, Matt Rempe. It's gonna happen.
It will. Rempe's gonna absolutely bulldoze someone in center ice. I can feel it already.
It'll be interesting. It'll be a spectacle to watch. But yeah, I mean, this kid's got to start watching out for himself. I completely agree.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Leafs, though, last note. I just want to close the show with this note. So
Okay.
I think that's about all we got for today.
Yeah.
You know Matthew Nyes, right?
Yeah.
Player for the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Leafs don't have a home regulation win against the Arizona Coyotes since October 17th, 2002. Isn't that crazy?
That's like 2 years.
What?
Wait, 2002.
2002, Tro.
Not 22. 2020.
22 years, Tro.
Oh my God.
For reference.
I heard 2022.
That was the day Matthew Nyes, current NHL player, was born.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Y'all can Google it if you don't believe me. October 17th, 2002, the day Matthew Nyes was born, was the last time Toronto won in regulation at home against the Coyotes.
Woof. Or should I say, how?
That was good.
Yeah,
I like
suck it, Leafs fans.
I just thought that was fantastic. I thought everyone would love ending the show with that one. So, you got anything else?
No, that's all I got.
We'll see y'all after the deadline. We'll be here the day after on the Saturday, going through everything for you. It should be a great week. And keep watching. As always, I'm Tico.
I'm Trilly.
Keep your dang head up.
Keep your head up. Boom.
Stick talk. Stick talk. Stick talk. Stick